How often do you buy a AAA game nowadays and it is incredibly buggy and unstable? And more often than not, it requires a day one patch. Release now and patch later is kind of the norm nowadays. Sometimes it's release now and just straight up never fix the game. Well, today we have some very exciting news. Final Fantasy XVI Day 1 will not have a patch. That's right, just like the Final Fantasy games of old, you will be able to insert Final Fantasy XVI directly into your PS5. No need for an internet connection or anything alike, nor will there be any need to sit there and download that day one patch. The director of the game, Hiroshi Takai, feels quite confident in the game's final build, and as a result the game shouldn't be tremendously buggy or unstable from day one, and that overall they currently have faith in the game's final build. The team also acknowledges that since this is a global simultaneous release, that not everyone in the world has immediate access to internet, and as such they wanted people to be able to play Final Fantasy XVI out of the box from the first day. Now of course there isn't a game in existence that's entirely bug-free, and this doesn't mean that the team isn't going to continue to fix any bugs that they find. They are still routinely searching for bugs to be fixed with the game. However, as things currently stand, the game doesn't have any major bugs or anything frequently that the player should run into. This is a huge win, as there are not too many games which are the case. And that is not all. Final Fantasy XVI currently has no plans for DLC. It seems that after Final Fantasy XV, the team is dialing in the entire opposite direction. Again, Final Fantasy XVI will be a complete game from day one. Naoki Yoshida saying on the matter, quote, "It's a one-off game. We're asking players to pay full price for this experience, and so we want an experience that's going to equal the amount of money that players are going to be paying, and we want them to have a satisfaction equal to what they paid or even more than that." Now that doesn't mean that if players really want more FF16, they're not going to do more DLC. It's simply that they are focusing on making a complete day one experience first, and then if players are hungry for more, then they will make more content. I know, this sounds like basic common sense, the thing that Square Enix and other companies should have been using for quite some time, especially in light of Final Fantasy XV universe, which before you even start the game requires you to watch a full feature-length film as well as several anime episodes on YouTube, and then consume multiple DLCs. This is not the case with Final Fantasy XVI. Final Fantasy XVI, just like the FF games you grew up with, only requires the game to get the full story, and anything that comes after will be a bonus, with Yoshi P saying, quote, "We have no idea if people are going to fall in love with Philistia and fall in love with Clive's story and want to see more of the world and characters. So while we always want to consider DLC or spin-off or those types of things where you can learn more about the game, first we want to see if Philistia and Clive are really things players around the world want to see more of, and then make that decision." Again, this is just common sense. I would be totally open to this game having DLC in the future, but I like that they're waiting to see if we actually like the game first before they start piling it on, and not making it this required gatekeeping thing that you have to hop over first in order to even understand the main game story. Final Fantasy XVI indeed may receive DLCs, spin-offs, or a sequel, but it will come as a result of us loving Final Fantasy XVI, and not as a result of them just piling on tertiary content. Last but certainly not least, Final Fantasy XVI will be receiving a demo. This has been talked about for quite some time, but now we know some certain details. For starters, this demo will be the first 2 hours of the game, and will focus on Clive in his teenage years. And the best part of it all is that your save data will transfer to the final game. And I love these type of demos where your save progress transfers to the final game. Ultimately, Final Fantasy XVI is shaping up to be an absolute rarity in the AAA space. This is a game that does not need a day one patch. It will perform great with minimum bugs from the first day, and it's made to be a complete story from day one, with DLC only coming if we want it later on. This game is absolutely on the right track. Shout out to patron Yo It's Joseph and the rest of the Ultima community.